Всем привет, а я продолжаю проходить игру Starfield. Поехали. Или погнали, да? Так, ладно, идем. Что мы делаем? А, еще не все. Блин. Мы уже обсуждали.
Commander.
Decorum down.
Although, that is it.
Excellent. Anyway, you know, wherever you...
The mission boards have been pretty excellent. Do that well. That it?
Что ж, доказательства мы не нашли, поэтому квест будет не выполнен. И мы к генералу, к адмиралу хотели идти. Что, пойдемте отправляться. Задание нашей спутницы. Так. А можно пройти? Дайте пройти. Так. Вот дела. Это сейчас было глюки. Ткань непонятная. Но это было. Поехали. Идем. Так, идем. Ложа. Поехали. В ложу. Там не были очень давно. Идемте сюда. Угу. Так. В ложу. Или к ложе. Блин. Все обходить. Придется все обходить. Так, у нас как там с костюмом нормально все. Вроде все нормально. Так, а что у нас там есть? Не-не-не. Я по поводу наряда. Форму дали. Ну хорошо. Пойдемте. Ну пойдемте. Тихо. Это потом. Как раз пути задания будет. Ехали. Тихо, ничего, она бегает. В эту стену резалась. Сара.
I'm quite busy, so if you'll excuse me, I'm far too busy to talk right now. My appointment's late as full. Maybe another time. This isn't a good time to talk. I'm far too busy to talk right now. I'm quite busy, so if you'll excuse me.
Ну давай. Ну как хочешь. Ладно. Не только по другому заданию. Че видится? Ладно. Так, где мы? Е-мое, что закрой. Случилось. Вывих конечности. Это тому. Шлепок будет. Это что за фигня? Давайте пробуем это скрутить. Понятно. Раньше. Так. Уходим отсюда. Я пока с нами разговаривать не будет. Так. Потом в следующий раз выполним задание Сары. Поехали. Ой, ну вот, нормально. Ну вот, нормально, прогрузка прошла успешно.
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the... They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated in Old Earth Latin. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation, secure the leadership of the UC military for generations. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Star Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did. So my involvement, that's not... So your help me, I just... You know, while we've got... Or if I'm telling how long the cat... Then I guess it's just a matter.
Ладно, пойдемте поговорим. А в этот раз вместе. Так, сюда идем. Сейчас тоже опять не захочешь с ним говорить, да? Добро пожаловать. Вы должны быть.
You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor. That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terrormorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic, and at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt, the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties. Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
I can second, Madam President. What I saw from the report reinforces the idea that this was an anomalous spawning. The other factions are as at risk as we are.
Huh. A fine point, Dr. Kulkarni. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However, if that's the path forward you prefer, then so be it.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that? Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
God.
They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
Так. Идем. Ладно, идемте. По заданию. Немножко сказано. Так. О, можно. М3. Блин, хорошая пушка. М3, говоришь?
thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Matt's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Ну, поехали. Ну, пошлите на космодрома. Да. Космодром. Ну вот, на месте. Отлично. Все хорошо. Бежим. Вперед. У нас есть пушка хорошая. Благо. Так. Где там эта пушка? Во. Поехали. Так, ладно. Тихо. Светитесь. Сейчас мы его сделаем. Ага, давай. Приходи. Очень ждем. И не боимся ни разу. Стоять! Мохнатый. Так, почти. Готово. Надо вылечиться, если есть чем. Угу. Отлично. Так, идем. Офицер. Эксперт. Прямо сейчас. Заблокировали оставшихся существ. Мы едва удерживаем периметр. Сказали, что вы уже... Что ж... И все необходимое, но я не могу рисковать тем, больше моих людей. Мы будем держаться изо всех сил. Надо поговорить с огневой группой. Пойдем поговорим с огневой группой. Слышал, что вам с употребления. Только скажите, мы... Только брифинг. Просто после психологических нападений нет. Мы не служим безопасности, помни. Поэтому успокоиться. Все понял, мы за вами. Идем. Чистим места эти. Дислокации. Пушка хорошая, но... Так, что за честь? Так. Понятно. Гамма. Карабин. Даже не знаю. Ладно. Разберемся. Так, две стрелочки, давайте поможем Пока мы сможем. Пока напрямую идем. А, это послабше. Такой сильный. Так, ладно. Размечталась меня поймать. Не выйдет так просто. Что вообще даже не бьет никак. Что же байку взять? Ну-ка попробуем. О, нормально. Бьет раз. И прямо в глаз. Готов. Где там морга? Сырая морга.
Thanks for giving me a moment of your time. I promise this won't take long. I thought you deserved to know how proud I am that you chose to side with the United Colonies and put an end to the Crimson Fleet. You've almost single-handedly saved the settled systems from one of its most dangerous enemies. I can't possibly commend you highly enough. Well, I'm not sure I deserve that, but I appreciate it all the same. What I want to know is what motivated you into making the right decision. You had Crix's legacy in hand, and you could have easily taken it to the key. Instead, you flew it to the Vigilance. Yes, that would have been unfortunate. The Crimson Fleet would have had enough wealth to fund their operation for decades. So, no regrets betraying Delgado then? I imagine you and he formed quite a partnership right up until the end. Agreed. With Delgado safely tucked away in a UC prison, things will certainly be quieter in the spaceways for a while. I suppose my final concern is how long this newfound peace will last. I wish I could share your optimism. My largest concern are the reports that Neva Mora was never captured or killed. My hope is that she was smart and went into permanent exile. I suppose only time will tell. Well, it appears I've soured the mood of our lovely conversation. I trust my mindless prattle hasn't been too much of a bother. Thanks for taking the time to listen.
Понятно. Ладно, идем. Ну что ж, неплохо. Сохраниться можно? Где можно? Отлично. Только осторожно. Следующий. Ой. Он довольно силен. Хотя моя ружбайка мощно бьет в глаз. Так, не плакать. Все нормально. Выдержим. Что у нас есть? Это что? Тоже плохо. Что-нибудь такие бронированные это. Прорыв. Дробовик. Спокойно держимся. Не действуют мне твои шары-мары. Разблатана. Не прокатит. Готово. Совершенно там. Ну вот. Форма. Можно взять. Так. Самозамни форма новая. Так. Пиратский, деловой. Не возьмем, пожалуй. Так, у нас опять перегруз. Вещи какие-то едут эти. Где Сара? Сара. Возьми вещи. Так. Так, держи. Держи. Ставим. Ставим. Нет, дробовик один ходит. Снайперка. Не нужно. А, у меня тоже перегруз. Призрак, держи. Это пистолет тоже хороший. Есть. Исаак, не надо. Ставим Орион. Тогда отдаем. Ничего не дается больше. Держите. Блин, он тоже не может больше нести. Все. Щитоносец. Так. Обменять. Все равно много веса. Метательное оружие не нужно. Блин. Все равно веса много. Вот это ставим. Все надо. Собирайте, малыш. Нужно нам. Так. Тут малыш. Идем. Ну пойдемте так, передадимся. Готово.
Protecting the many.
And it would have been plenty more if it hadn't been for the two of you. The city owes you both a debt for this.
We were just in the right place at the right time. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Ну идем. Расскажем об этом. Просто устранена. Что ж, поехали. Ну, поехали. Как говорится, вперед. Шагу назад. Опа. Кабинет.
That's a relief to hear. Captain, Hadrian, it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Ну вот.
Maybe another time.
Уровень, отлично, качаем. 5, ага. Прокачаем. Хорошо. Ручной сканер. И что еще?
I'm gonna go check in with
Разберемся.
Start getting a plan together for that
С майором. Так. А с Эдди можем поговорить? По поводу задания. С Логаном. Как он здесь?
There are so many different routes across the solar system.
My appointment's late as full. Maybe another time. I'm far too busy to talk right now.
Понятно. Рановато пока. Ладно, идем дальше.
Hello.
Кстати, не хочешь разговаривать.
A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second in command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
It was a mutual agreement, but I suppose you touch on the spirit of it. So, you also know then that it was originally managed by the 3 major galactic players. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency, and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Faroon.
Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Faroon to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate.
And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Faroon? The good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
Who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Never underestimate the universe's ability to surprise. That's why we have Plan B. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise. And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Еще не все.
Captain, would you like to finish your... Official line is that you're to... My suggestion... She's also got a... Ambassador Balmore's... When the rest of... He's... But claiming to know how... It does. We're not 100. His public scans. Your task is... I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door is... Here. And fair warning. Now, if I'd suggest you start... Be smart out there, Captain.
Ну что ж, пойдемте. Юный код содружества. Ну попробуем. Да попробуем. Что ж, идем. Тихоньку. Полегоньку. Оп. Ага. Идем.
Maybe we should stop for a moment.
Поговорим с ними. Пока что идем. Сохраняемся.
I'm going to be up front with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. What you need.
Пробуем.
I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here? I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. I suppose you're right. Our job and our responsibility. It's possible I might be letting my history cloud my judgment. Possibly. You're right. Because if not this, what other options do we have? Please don't talk to me like I'm some cold-hearted monster. Captain, I'm sorry.
Еще раз. Еще раз. Пробуем разговаривать.
I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm not happy visiting anything related to the Freestar Collective. As you lead.
Never fails to disappoint. I just wish I had received the news
Ну,
from
почти.
SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Так, сохраняемся еще раз. Ну. Да блин. Метка, работай.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one, Mac. You have my now. That now the use. I can only presume. I was. Let me be frank. I will not be the. You're really gonna push. I'm listening. I suppose you're right. It's possible. Preventing more death.
Блин.
Captain, I'm sorry, but my answer.
Еще раз. Пробуем еще раз разговаривать. Диалоги наши все, правильно? Так, ну-ка. Блин, естественно, я не могу.
I'm sorry. Ah, you're the one, McIntyre. You have my now. Now the use. I can only presume. I was. Let me be frank. I will not be the one. You're really gonna push. I'm listening. It's a job.
А почему сразу нет-то? Работала же раньше.
It's possible I might be letting my history cloud my judgment. Possibly. Well, Captain,
Что ж, капитан, вы?
you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terramorphs. The monitors will make sure of it. You go in once, you get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight. Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Ну вот, договорились. Не с первого подхода, так с третьей. Так, идем. В 2 раза быстро получился. С 3-го раза сковырить ее. Ну ладно, идем.
They tell me it should only take a moment. And there. It's not supposed to be a long process. It is for emergencies, after all.
Ну вот, готово. Ой, пора уходить сюда. Это же выход. Спальня какая-то. Покажет нам выход. Да, я надеюсь. Блин, что за дела? Идем. Ну пойдемте. Раз так. Следующего уговаривать. Блин, мало сохранений. Удаляем. Так. Назад немножко. Загрузка. Да, я понял. Так. Еще ограничено сохранение число. Вот так вот. Раз, два. 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18. Хватит пока. Ладно, идем. Пока вместе хватит. Ну что ж, идем дальше. Так, куда нам? Подождите. Почему здесь Юми тогда? Как приобрести? Идем к Юми. Идем тогда. Поговорим о том о сём. И выясним, что конкретно надо. Пробуем сначала убеждением, конечно. Сюда идем. Убедить. Так, сюда. Это не секретная база. Так, идем. Сейчас она бегает. Быстро. Что, поехали. Так, и... Ага. Домофоном.
It appears the flora they were using as decor has overgrown the entire embassy.
Сюда идем. Что здесь? Смороженное что-то. Так, тихо. Почему меня стреляют? Вдруг роботы? Зачем здесь роботы? Дверь закрывай. Блин, куда ты пошел со мной-то? Так. Готово. Отстань. Так, вверху где-то что-то. Ломаем. О, продвинутый. Понятно все. Так. Так. Что можем сделать? Двойной поставить. И ой, еще двойной есть у нас. Не такой двойной. Блин. Угу. Нет. Все такое двойное попробовать. Ну, не-не-не. Верните, пожалуйста, другую. Угу. Так. Верните. Угу. Ай! Ай-яй-яй, поломали. Снова не то. А если маленькую? Нет. Угу. Не знаю, мы что-то значение фигню сделали, да? Еще раз. Отвали. Отвали, косматый. Так. Я замок ломаю. Так, допустим. Так. И сюда. Так. Тоже. Это тоже. Так, это тоже не подходит. У нас есть... тройная есть. Угу. Ну, подойдет ли? Нет, не подходит. А вот это тоже не подходит. Блин. Так, да. Так, загружаемся. Мало отмычек. Экономия. Слишком мало отмычек. Идем. Вырубить питание. Хорошо, пробуем. Идем. Попробуем. Правильно идем-то. С вами. Так, опять мы через робота пошли. Дверь с собой закрывай. Дверь закрывай. Отвали. Ну что ж так медленно? За мной не шли. Есть наглоеды. Закрывай, закрывай, закрывай. Здесь сохраняемся. Взломать замок. Попробуем. Так. Угу. Допустим. Так, тройная есть какая-нибудь? Нет. Тоже не подходит. Тоже не подходит. А сюда пробовать? Нет. Так вот это если. Вот это остается тройная. Такая что ли? Нет. Так, еще раз. Так, ладно, сейчас. А что-нибудь еще есть? Тройная. Вот это. Нет. Хей. Опять. Опять не то. Опять не то. Так, пока отмычки есть, сломаем. Блин. Ну как. А вот это можно сломать? Это вообще не работает. Работает. Вот это пробуем. Ага. Неужели? Так, тройная. Нет то. Не то. Ну-ка. Нет. Вообще не работает здесь. Так, понимаю. А, не работает. И двойная. Отлично. Неужели? Угу. Так. Готово. Так, что здесь? А мы тебя не приглашали в гости. А зачем ты пришел? Не надо. Здрасте. Я не ингибитор. Если что. Идем. Доступно. Блин, что делать? Да здрасте, говорю. Погодите. Да погодите вы. Матрешки. Почему меня бьют-то? Куда мы пошли в итоге? Так. Угу. Тут закрыто. Тут закрыто. Подожди. Сюда заходим. Куда дальше? Сюда. Ходим. Тут закрыто. Может сюда пройти? Блин, опять замок. Встаньте. Не прижимайтесь. Ай-яй-яй. Здрасте. Что не знаю. Блин, надо сохраниться. Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй-яй. Ну, пристали. Потому что... Нет. Вообще нет. Вот это. Так, двойная есть? Двойная вообще нет ни разу. Блин. Ладно. Тройная есть. Не подходит. А это тоже не подходит. Вот это подходит. Так. И что делаем? Блин, выход. Одна отмычка, один шанс все сделать правильно. Угу. Так. Не подходит. Угу. Что такое тут подходит? Блин! Ой, я уже испугался. Ой, здрасте. Вы тоже здесь. Ай. Не надо мне бить, не надо. Ни колотушками, ничем. Так, как не спуститься? В ваших казематах. Так, есть чем лечиться? Сейчас умрем. Пьем все. Пригодится. На всякий случай. Не спуститься. А вот. Идем. В подвал. Хорошо. Здрасте. Обязательно? Блин. Развалюхи. Подождите. Ну подожди. Какая-то заряд какой-то дробовика. Ай-яй-яй, долгие какие. Чего у вас так много-то? Угу. Бьют. Не жалеют. Так, хорошо. Осталось. Что у нас еще есть? С оружием. Пистолет. Есть патроны. 6 патронов. Много. Можно вас как-то... Нету больше. Блин. Так, патрон нет. Так. Карабин. Не знаю. Погодите вы. Вдвоем-то. Готов один. Сейчас второй. Вот так. Карты собрали. Так. Собрали. Сохраняемся.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the great serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks. My apologies for the ordeal we just endured. Come, let us discuss.
Ну, пойдемте. Обсудим. Так, немножко поранили нас. Аптечка есть? Нету.
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Is that right, huh? I shall need to have these repairs seen to sooner rather than later. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious.
Who else could just waltz through my door? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably. Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy, with little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Now, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
As the chair of Constellation, I take personal responsibility in vouching for this man's integrity. He'll keep his word.
Well then, I shall not fear. Please, follow me.
Ну, пойдемте. Договоримся.
Let's hope it still works.
Можно взять. Аптечку, аптечки есть.
Let it be used for good. Will we all be so lucky next time?
Ну ладно, уходим тогда. Здесь нас с робота больше не нападут. Блин. Меня надо сюда выйти. Если можно. Так, идем. Аккуратно. Вон играется. Блин. Тихо. Есть что, лечение какое-то? Нет. Блин, нас сейчас убьют. Турель. С ней где-то убила. Блин, какая мощная штука. Турель. Нет здоровья. О, другое дело. Только я типа подпортил все-таки. Это не моя вина, я хотел спокойно уйти. Ага, понятно. Дай спокойно уйти, а. Вот не дают. Так. Ой, ваншот. Это был ваншот. Тяжело, когда нет здоровья, конечно. Так, сюда идем. Как выйти отсюда? Подожди. Почему назад идем-то? В итоге. Может, надо было за ним идти? Выйти отсюда. Так, все завалено, завалено. Ага. Допустим. Заходим. Или выходим. Туалет, ясно. Нужно нам туалет нам выйти отсюда. По-хорошему. Если возможно. Отлично. Уходим. Нам бы отсюда выйти. Вот, годится. Водится. Так. Так. Идем. Не спуститься правильно. Опять мы перегруз, что ли? Да нет, вроде. Чем так дышим? Чем мы так дышим-то? В кабинет заходим. Так. Идем, сохраняемся. Зачем? Получилось?
With Radcliffe and Balmore. We're all in agreement. So the old man was still lurking around in there. Fine work, Captain. And now, I've already arranged everything with the archival monitors. When you get down there, the UC monitor will give you instructions on how to deploy the codes. Follow them to the letter. Here, the UC code piece and an archival access card. The entrance is just on the other side of the plaza across from Mast. Absolute best behavior down there, all right?
Ну, постараемся, если на меня нападать не будут. Хорошо, так. Идемте. Ну, пойдемте. Что? Угу. Выходим. Потихоньку. Фу. Так. Так.
Captain, to the archives. To proceed, you will need to deposit your codes into the 3 corresponding receptacles.
Емкость.
Once they are verified, I will open the door. Your data resides in Unit 18. You will not be able to access any of the other.
Понятно.
Once you've collected your data, return to the entrance.
Хорошо.
You may insert the first of the archival codes when you're ready to begin.
Пойдемте. где? Ну вот, идем. Готово. Все, спасибо. Коды получены. Поехали отсюда. Лофт. Больше добывали. Эти коды. Идем. Просто идем вперед. И ни шагу назад. Так. Так, идем. Сюда. Не странно, эта отметка то вниз показывает, то вверх. Тем не менее, мы дошли на место. Пора поговорить. Что мы узнали о морфах.
If you'd be willing to transfer the documents to the Major, she and I have been discussing what comes next.
Time for us to start getting some real answers and figure out if we've been asking the right questions. So whenever you're ready.
Да-да.
Acknowledged and accepted, Captain. So with the data out of the way, we've been discussing where exactly this work's getting done. The Red Devil's headquarters on Mars, back where you found Percival, seemed the natural spot. Already has the equipment, the safety measures. Though it sounded like the deputy had a few more things she needed to discuss with you first.
Indeed. The most important of which is getting you your citizenship.
Then I guess we'll see you on Mars.
Captain, if you'll follow me.
Ну, хорошо. Идемте. Так и поступим. Фух, аккуратно только. Аккуратно. Ого. Полицейские стоят-то. Много их. Всех. Заходим. Ну, а мы что не заходим? Не, мы должны заходить. Тоже.
All right, Captain. Are you ready to become a citizen of the United Colonies? Good. This isn't the only item we need to discuss, so I'll give you the short version. Please raise your hand. Captain, through your actions today and in days past, you have earned your place among the United Colonies. Through service, bravery, strength, and upholding of the mutual good. Will you carry and cultivate these values for as long as you remain a citizen? Then, Captain, I'm pleased to welcome you into the United Colonies as a full citizen. Here, your official ID and your citizenship dispensation. We've also let the Aphelion Realty office out in the plaza know you're approved to purchase property. Now, the other item we needed to discuss. There's a member of the UC who's asked to speak to you, but this person is in a sensitive position. Normally, we wouldn't even consider something like this, but we think this person has information that could prove useful in dealing with the Terramorphs. And they've stated they'll only share it with you. They asked for you by name. So I need your agreement that everything you're about to see is kept in the strictest confidence. You can tell no one. Can you agree to these terms? Let's hope it never comes to that. Head to the elevator. You're going to subsection 7. I'll make sure you're cleared for access by the time you get there.
Отлично. Сколько денег-то? Ну, сколько денег? Ну что ж, что нам дальше-то? Ну вот, ну вот. лицо, парфюмы. Ну, кое-что что добавилось. Спасибо всем за просмотр. Весь уже на следующем стриме, на следующей серии по этой игре. Да, продолжается. И продолжается. Если канал, ставьте лайки. Всем